Because what Darwin tells us is that it's not the strongest of the species that survives, it's not the fastest, it's the most adaptable. It's those who are observing what's going on around them and are changing to take account of it. And so put together Moore's Law and Darwin, those who've survived are those who saw this tech stuff happening, who took account of it, and who got ahead of the curve. And sadly, lots of great companies have gone by the wayside. When I was at IBM, our competitors, they don't exist anymore. It was people at Burroughs and NCR. Then the mid-range came along and made companies like Data General and Tandem, and then Digital, and then Compaq, and then Netscape, and then even getting more modern social media, MySpace, the very first MySpace, and then Kodak. I mean, Kodak was one of the great companies of the planet. They never saw digital photography coming, despite the fact that they invented the digital camera. And then you get BlackBerry, and you get others. So the path of digital disruption is littered by the beasts of what were once pretty smart carcasses. Recognising these trends, it's all about knowing your customer. It's about social media, big data, and what I would call engagement marketing. We used to talk about mobile. I remember 3-4 years ago, when you talked about mobile, you always gave the examples of what young people were doing. And certainly, mobile commerce, using the phone for shopping, used to be all about young people and smartphones. But think about, I see there's some young people here, which is great. Some of you will have younger brothers and sisters, you'll have nephews and nieces, you'll have kids of your own, you'll have me, you'll have grandkids. Watch what they do. If that phone's not already on when they wake up in the morning, it's the very first thing they do. That phone goes on. They will have, over the course of a day, over 300 engagements with that phone, interactions. They will spend 70% of the time inside an app. There are 5 million apps out there, 2.5 million on Android, 2.5 million on iOS and Apple. The average young person, less than 30 apps on their phone. And they group them, by music apps and shopping apps and travel apps and various things like that. So it's really important and really hard to get landed on that real estate. At ASOS, we spent a huge amount of our marketing effort figuring out how to make it attractive enough for them to download the app to be on the phone with them. And every one of the companies I worked for over the past 15 years is what I would call data-driven. Amazon, ASOS, Trainline, AO, Wiggle. There are no intuitive decisions. You don't just kind of look at which way the wind's blowing or, let's try this, let's try that. Everything you do is data-driven. And yet people say, well, that's fine, but can't you have too much data? I mean, a company like ASOS has got 20 million customers and it's got almost 100,000 SKUs. So that's a pretty big spreadsheet, and it's pretty hard for a human to get their mind around it. And yet, with 100,000 SKUs, it's not helpful to the customer unless you can narrow it down to 5, 6, 7, 8 relevant recommendations, because they're going to look at this stuff on a mobile phone. So you've really got to curate it for them. And that's where personalisation and discoverability comes in. And so through machine learning, ASOS's recommendation software understands the relationships between those data elements that no human could possibly do, either because the data set is too large or it's just too complex. It would involve processing too much data. So we look at all of the interactions between customers and data over a 12-month period, and the software trains itself to actually estimate the likelihood that any given customer will click on something, add it to a bag, and hopefully buy it, based on the data that you've got. So it's working with billions of rows, millions of columns of data, and you have to do it with machines. No human could spot the pattern amongst that stuff. And people say, well, doesn't this mean that AI and the machines are going to take over, that there will be no jobs for us? I can't predict that. But what I will say is that humans working with AI will always outperform humans working on their own. So I think the challenge for all of us today is to learn how to use and how to harness the machines. Every job on Amazon today involves some interaction with the machine, and it's about how do you manage a machine, how do you offload the right sort of work, and that's going to be the case, I think, in just about every job in every industry over the next 5 years. So if you start thinking about the implications for you, because it's got implications for every industry.